Hello, everybody, and welcome to From the Mezzanine, the Broadway podcast for the Broadway fans. Here we talk about all things Broadway news, Broadway grosses, and let's be honest, all of the tea and gossip that happens week to week in the Broadway stratosphere. And I am your host, Lindsey Stone. Hello, Broadway besties. How are we doing this week? I have a few shows that I need to recap seeing with you guys, and I have some devastating Broadway news to cover as well. Actually devastating. And I know the hits are going to start coming and they're not going to stop coming because it's post Tonys and we are living in the aftermath of the Tonys, and that could be good. That could be bad. First off, it wasn't planning on talking about this, but why not? Last week was my Tony Awards recap, and I didn't think I was being that aggressive towards some shows, but apparently people definitely didn't feel that way. And for that, I am sorry. I don't ever hate shows just to hate them, or talk badly about shows just to talk badly about them. I usually just keep it very personal to me of my experience and my thoughts on a show, and I never ever feel like I say you should not see this show. I feel like I say go see it for yourself and figure out if you like it or not. Anyways, people were mad at me, and I am sorry. I don't ever want to be disparaging towards a show just for being negative, and I feel like I'm not, but maybe I reached a new audience of people who weren't familiar with From the Mezzanine and how we do things over here. But that was a surprise to me because it's bad, but it's true. I honestly, when I listened back to the episode, I was like, you know what? I actually feel like I didn't talk too poorly about the shows that I don't love. I was like, wow, I feel like my real feelings, I almost withheld them to a degree and only said more positive feedback from the Tonys. But that was apparently not the way that it was taken or maybe my true feelings are just a little bit more extreme than what I shared on the podcast. And what I shared on the podcast was just the tip of the iceberg, but just the tip of the iceberg was a little too much for some people. Anyways, love the Broadway besties. Love that you've come here to listen to From the Mezzanine, and hopefully I know I have very unpopular opinions. I know that I do. And that's just the way that theater is. People love things that other people hate. People hate things that other people love. And all the while we can all agree on the fact that having shows on Broadway is a good thing. Having people taking risks on Broadway is a good thing. Employing actors and crew is a good thing. And so as long as we all have that understanding of we may not love a show, but by all means, we never want a show to close. We're never going to celebrate a show's closing. Then I feel like we can all get along here in this theater space. The theater community at large is very, very touchy, and I have definitely felt that, especially as somebody with unpopular opinions and with a fan's perspective level of knowledge about theater. Through doing the podcast, I've learned so much, but when I started, I felt like, yeah, I am qualified to speak on these things, which I wouldn't say that I am or I'm not. It's just if I feel like people listen to From the Mezzanine because it's a fan's perspective and you can relate here, or you can be like, girly, nah, but you're still here to yap and chat about Broadway. And that's so fun. But yeah, there's definitely some extremist Broadway fans out there that don't believe in having the fun that I believe in having, especially on From the Mezzanine. Very lighthearted. I never mean to offend. And I know that most of you agree and can see that, and that's why you come here. So I'm not talking to the Broadway besties at large. I just thought it was really unexpected. I posted last week's episode and I got some negative comments and I was like, what? I was surprised. But you know what? That just comes with the territory, and I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Anyways, let's talk about the shows that I saw this past week. Starting with Angry Allen, which I cannot find my playbill this morning. We did just move. I am praying it did not get lost in the move. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like it might be in my backpack right there, and I'm hoping that it is. But I couldn't find it. I got John Krasinski's signature, which is so insane. But let me tell you all about Angry Allen. So a little bit about the plot. It follows this lead character that John Krasinski plays. His name is not Angry Allen, but he follows this page, this online page for men. It's extremely misogynistic, and it is called Angry Allen. And it is pretty much a one-man show. There is one other character that comes out ever so briefly, but it is mainly a monologue of the inner thoughts of John Krasinski's character. And when he finds this page and he's down on his luck, he's divorced. He has I believe, like 15-year-old kid, and he never sees him, and he has like a typical blue collar job, and he's just feeling really sorry for himself, and he finds community in this extremely dangerous page called Angry Allen that promotes hate of women and the abuse of women and gives a lot of power and strength and confidence in these older men that is extremely dangerous. And he comes to this page in almost a really naive way because he's like, finally, somebody is saying the things that I've been thinking for so long, and he's sending the page to everybody. And anyways, it's really wild to like see the inner workings of a mind of a person who falls victim to pages like this online, and it happens all the time. And I don't want to say falls victim because I wouldn't say that they're a victim. Like, they make the choice to like follow these pages and believe in these beliefs, but it is really interesting as somebody who is so on the opposite end of the spectrum of somebody like this to see how they get caught up in it. And John Krasinski plays the role in a very, this is going to be shocking, likable way. I know you're like, how could somebody who believes in those things be likable? I don't know, but John Krasinski is able to do it. And it's really funny. It's a very funny piece because the audience is all on the same page of like, this is crazy what you are doing and what you are saying. So we are all laughing at him, not with him, with a lot of the things. Anyways, his character like goes to a conference for Angry Allen. He's giving him all of his money. And then, I don't want to give it away entirely, but at the end, there's a really surprising turn of events that really changes the game of the entire play. So, as all plays do, right? There's always like a huge aha, oh my God moment. And this play certainly has that. John Krasinski is insane in this role. He is such an amazing actor. I really loved him. It's playing at the Studio Seaview, which is a brand new production space. This was its inaugural production. It is the nicest theatrical space I think I've ever been to in New York City. It is extremely club-like. It's very snazzy. The lighting, all of the furniture, it's really a beautiful space. I would implore you to go early, get a drink at the bar, and like chill out. We did not, but once we were in there, I was like, wow, that would have been nice because it is just so beautiful in there. Last time I checked, I think the tickets ranged from like $150 to $250, but I do know that they have a rush program on the Today Tix app. If you're a John Krasinski fan, I seriously can't recommend it enough because it is him on a stage, up close and personal. It's a tiny venue. We were literally in like the 4th row center, and it was surreal to be that close to John Krasinski, somebody that I have watched on TV since I think I was probably like 8 or 9 years old. I love him, and he did not disappoint, even though his character was so unhinged and a horrible person. I still was just so impressed by his acting and his performance. And afterwards, he took an hour to come out of the stage door, but yes, we waited the entire hour, and he was so kind, signed our playbills, took photos with us. You guys, like I said, we waited an hour. He finally comes out. He comes directly to us. I was going to like hit record on my phone to do a video and turn the phone around and take a photo of him, me, and my sister. I forgot to hit record. So I like turned the phone around, all the things, and we like smile, and I forgot to hit record. I thank God I went to my camera roll and I realized I didn't get any of the video. And my sister was like, "Are you kidding?" And I was like, "I'm so sorry." And she's like, "Well, let's ask him again." Thank God we did that. But I was like, I'm sorry. And so we asked him again. We were like, "John, I'm sorry. We forgot to hit record. Can we please do another?" And he was like, "Yeah." So we did another. He was so kind. He took time with people if you wanted to take time with him, and like not like have like a full out conversation. Like he was trying to rush. But he was being very intentional and just very sweet. And thank God he was, because we waited so long and it was like a light drizzle and it was so late. Oh my God. I don't know if I will ever do that for anybody else. The only other person we've waited that long for was like Leslie Odom Jr. after Pearly Victorious. But yes, it was worth it. And Angry Allen was amazing. I know it's a limited engagement, so be wary of that and go and see it because it's really freaking awesome. I also saw Boop again last weekend because my sister was visiting, my other sister, and she wanted to see something that was really fun and energetic. And I was like, well, we could go see Boop. And we did rush for it. We did not do the 30 under 30, and we were front row center. And it was amazing. It was amazing to see Jasmine Amy Rogers acting her butt off right in front of us. That seriously, it blew my mind, and it just secured the fact that I love the show so much, and the fact that I need to see every show twice. I really, really liked Boop the first time that I saw it. Really liked it. I thought it was cute. I thought it was fun. I thought it was so lighthearted. But seeing it the second go round, I was like, yeah, this is actually so amazing. It has every single thing that you are looking for. And it's so family friendly. Jasmine Amy Rogers is seriously the star of our generation. She will be Mama Rose in 30, 40 years. The fact that she is only 25 years old boggles my mind because her vocal maturity is that of somebody who has been a Broadway veteran. She is absolutely one of the greatest talents I have seen on a stage. And she is acting to the gods. She never takes a backseat in any scene. And she's in every single scene. But if you could imagine, like, working that hard for a show that you are leading, and in every scene doing 120%, it's actually crazy to me. I cannot imagine how exhausted this woman is for giving us so much on that stage. She is a wonder. She is so, like, unbelievably talented in her dancing, in her singing, in her acting. I just loved sitting front row and being able to marvel at the talent that is Jasmine Amy Rogers. Ainsley Malham, who plays Blue Eyes, Dwayne. I never want to call him Dwayne because that just does not fit his character. Why is his name Dwayne? I hope that has some relevance to Betty Boop comics because Dwayne is not like a love interest name at all. Dwayne. That's my fiance's like grandpa's name. I can't. Dwayne is not. Anyways, they should have reworked that one in the previews. But Dwayne Ainsley, he is also amazing. He didn't have like a huge impression on me the first time that I saw it. For whatever reason, I don't really know. The second time, I was like, ooh, I'm so wooning. He is so swoon-worthy. I love all of his songs. I have been listening to the Boop soundtrack, I think, more than anything else right now. I really love She Knocks Me Out. I love that song. I also love listening to the opening song. What are my other favorites? I love the Act 2 or Act 1 closing song, Where I Want to Be. I love this album. I'll listen to it all the way through too. There's not a lot of musical theater albums, especially in recent years, that I want to listen to in entirety all the way through. But this album is just so good. And it is heavy on the musical theater, but it's also like She Knocks Me Out sounds like a Michael Bublé song. Like there's a lot of variation within each song as well. I will say, like, no, we'll get to it in the news. Never mind. I'll get to that later. But yes, absolutely love Boop. I'm devastated because I know it's not going to last long unless a miracle happens and somehow, some way, they do some marketing campaign and drive a ton of people into the theater. I know it's not going to last long. And it hurts my heart because it is seriously so good. And I don't understand at all why it was not nominated for Best Musical. Look, I'm not going to let the haters make me stop saying controversial takes, okay? This is so much better than Real Women Have Curves and Operation Mincemeat. Boop should have been nominated for Best Musical, period. It absolutely should have been. The fact that it's family friendly and cute should not have been the reason that it wasn't nominated. I really don't know why. The costuming is amazing. The score is so fantastic. I don't even think the book. I don't even think the book. That's what I was gonna say. I don't even think the book is that bad. I feel like that's what a lot of people criticized it for, but I don't think that it's that bad. I think that they really just play into the fun and cartoonish world of Betty Boop, even when they're in the real world, and that just is like world building. I love it. I don't understand why it wasn't nominated. Anyways, choreography it also could have won for, but I haven't seen Buena Vista, so not going to hate on that. Anyways, Boop is so amazing. And we're going to talk about it in the Broadway grosses, I'm sure, because I need to see where it landed. And I'm hoping it did better. But I'm also really excited for the Broadway grosses because we're going to get to see the effect that the Tonys have on how much these shows are grossing. So without further ado, let's get into the Broadway grosses. So this is for the week ending on June 15th. And our numero uno, praise be, everybody, it's a new one because Good Night and Good Luck closed. So our numero uno is Wicked once again at $2.3 million. Glengarry and Glen Ross is number 2. Can't Shake It, and they are just barely below Wicked. The Lion King is number 3. Hamilton is 4. Sunset Boulevard is 5. They're in their last few weeks. It's not a news story, but we did find out that Tom Francis is not staying with the production up until its closing. They did do like week by week extensions, and now I think it's not a news story, so sorry, but if I'm wrong, but I believe Tom Francis is leaving the production on July 6th, I want to say, and then one of the understudies will be taking over his role in the meantime up until the end, which is so awesome for that understudy. They're going to get to close out the production, but it's also kind of like questionable as to why Tom Francis didn't want to stick it out until the bitter end. He probably has another contract, and that's to be expected because they did keep extending and trying to get as much money, squeeze the last bit of juice out of this production. But yeah, also like it's kind of sad. I would think that they would want to close with their original cast, but whatever. It's good for that understudy. 6 is Picture of Dorian Gray. Aladdin is 7. Oh Mary is 8. I wish I could have seen Cole Escala in their final performance, or at least just before they left. That was very high on my list, was to see them, but it's a very hard ticket to get, and I would have had to go and rush it early, which unfortunately is not my thing. So Mary is 8. Death Becomes Her is 9, and Buena Vista Social Club is 10. So let's see where maybe Happy Ending fell, considering that they were our best musical. Last week, I know that they were sold out practically the entire week. They have 102% capacity and they're grossing $1.2 million. Eek! I'm so happy. I'm so pleased. That is amazing. And I do think that is an increase from their typical. I hope that it lasts. I really, really hope. Buena Vista is doing really well. That could be due to the Tony Awards and their publicity that they got there. Death Becomes Her is doing well as always, though. Sunset Boulevard, I would say, is doing really well. They did have a 91% capacity. I would have thought that would have been a little higher. I'm surprised that they have any open seats in the week post Tonys. Now let's look at the bottom. I'm scared. Oh my God, I'm scared. Oh my God, I haven't seen Boop yet, and I'm just scrolling and scrolling. Oh my God, okay. You guys, this is why. Real Women Have Curves is our very bottom. Last week, they grossed $365,000. That is so sad. And they had 63% capacity. And then Dead Outlaw is right above them with under $500,000 in grosses and 69% capacity. What is the deal? Dead Outlaw is so good. I just think that it doesn't have like that sexiness. Like it doesn't have like that Broadway zest that's going to bring people in. Maybe it just should have run off Broadway for quite a while rather than coming to Broadway. Like literally ripped my heart out. It's so freaking good. I love it so much. And we will be talking about it more in our Broadway news because we got some devastating news this week. Last 5 years is doing extremely poorly, 74% capacity. They also grossed under $500,000. How in the world is Nick Jonas? Maybe they had some of his understudies on, but I just don't understand how Nick Jonas has absolutely zero pull on Broadway. Maybe they're just not promoting him in the way that they should, but the fact that this show is grossing under $500,000 is embarrassing, to be honest. We have a lot of shows doing really poorly. Boop had 78% capacity last week, grossing just over $500,000. So the next ones to announce, Smash already announced, and they're grossing over Boop, so that should tell you something. Floyd Collins announced their closing, although apparently it was always a limited engagement, but I don't think we had like a specific date. And since it's just seriously doing so bad, it's grossing under $500,000, they're going to close it maybe sooner than they had hoped. Sondheim's Old Friends is doing not great at all. It's a tiny theater, but they're grossing under $500,000. And that's crazy because Bernadette Peters is in it, but I haven't seen it and I don't really care to. The only one left that hasn't announced is Boop. So that is coming probably this week. It's just devastating. It's so great. It's so great. And I have no idea why it's not finding an audience because it is just so amazing. And it is a recognizable IP. Like everybody knows Betty Boop, whether they like love her and want to see her in a musical, like maybe that's another thing. But I would think that they would. Here's what I could maybe predict. Betty Boop is such an old character. Like our grandparents probably watched the cartoons, but nobody younger than, my guess is like 85, watched the Betty Boop cartoons. And now they're making it a family-friendly musical. When it was a children's cartoon, but it wasn't necessarily, like the image Betty Boop portrays nowadays is like very sexy and feminine. And maybe there's some sort of disconnect there of like families going to the theater to see this Betty Boop show whenever nowadays she's perceived as like this vivacious va-va-voom sort of character, but they're trying to portray her in a family-friendly aspect. Like maybe there's some sort of disconnect. That's the only thing that I can really think of, but it's really sad because it's such a good show. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. Let's get into our Broadway news, everyone. I feel like the energy has taken a shift. Like it's literally like storming outside and like I'm sad about what I'm about to report on. But I will try to bring the energy up very soon. Sorry, you guys. This is just like kind of sad because we're living in the aftermath of the Tonys, like I said. And this always happens. Shows that don't win don't see an increase in grosses, and therefore they have to leave Broadway. And we have 2 Broadway show closings that were announced this past week. One is Real Women Have Curves, which it lasted out until the bitter end. It could not have survived another day, you guys. Like it has been at the bottom of the grosses since it opened, and it never saw an increase. And this honestly could have been the life cycle for like maybe Happy Ending. They were doing so poorly at the start, and now they are thriving. And I think Real Women Have Curves, their team was like, we could win a Tony and we will maybe Happy Ending it. Like we will be able to thrive. But of course, that was not the case. And they announced that they will be closing on June 29th. And at the time of their closing, they will have played 73 performances, which of course, they're going to go down as a flop. And it's really sad. It opened on April 27th and is closing on June 29th. This show was such a celebration of Mexican heritage and culture. And it's really sad that the track record of diverse shows is not good. Many Broadway shows close far too soon and are not able to find an audience when they're primarily featuring a POC cast. And that is a fact of Broadway. And there are a few shows for sure that see so much success. And those are the outliers. We have our Hamiltons, we have our In the Heights, we have The Wiz. We definitely have some that thrive. Buena Vista Social Club right now. But it's some of these shows that unfortunately maybe have like a smaller reach, but hope to gain a broader audience by the heart and the word of mouth. And that can totally be done. That can absolutely be done on Broadway. We've seen it done time and time again, but it just did not happen for Real Women Have Curves. I did like this show. I liked a lot of the songs. I love the lead girl, Tatiana. I liked the story. I did not think that it was ready for Broadway, in all honesty. I feel like it would have done so well off-Broadway, but it just did not have that big Broadway feeling to me at any point. With like the ensemble numbers and the score, it just did not feel like it was ready. And I have to be honest, I'm not surprised by the fact that it was not a success on Broadway, given what I saw whenever I viewed the production. I do think that it was very good. And I think that I wish so deeply that it could have stayed longer to have been more of a success. But I'm not surprised by this outcome, considering the show that I saw. It just did not feel like it was ready for Broadway. But I don't think that that's why it wasn't successful. I feel like if we're looking at the business side of things, it potentially was not successful because I don't think that it did a ton of marketing. I think that they should have done more to make it more appealing to audiences at large. For one, I really think the name of the musical should have been changed. I've been saying that since the very beginning. Real Women Have Curves. It seems exclusionary to me. And I think that they should have, I know it's based off of a movie, and if they would have changed the name, then that IP would not have linked to this musical, and like people wouldn't have realized that this is based off of like a familiar movie. But I don't think many people are familiar with this movie to begin with, especially nowadays. Like every time that I tell somebody it's based off of a movie, even when they've seen it, they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, it had America Ferrera. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, that's why it's called Real Women Have Curves, because it's based off of this movie. And they had no idea. So I don't think that the IP was strong enough for them to like really link it to that. And maybe there's something to do with like the legality behind it that they have to keep that original name. But I don't like the name. I never have. And I think that honestly, it is in a name. A name can make or break a Broadway show. Recently, Lynn posted about his different names he wanted for Hamilton. And I really do think if he had chosen any of those other names, it wouldn't have done as well. Like a name is huge for getting people into the seats. And this show, it cannot be without saying that this show is extremely relevant right now with what we have going on right now in LA with the immigrants and the crisis is there. And so it's just so hard. It's so hard to have something on Broadway that is political because we are so divided. I like to think we're not that divided in New York, especially with theater goers, but I think we are. And this show is very, very political in our current climate. And I do think maybe that deterred people, unfortunately, from going to see it as well. It's horrible. I don't want to get too much into it because we know that it's closing. Who cares why? But I do think it's really interesting to think about the reasons so that, you know, we can think about shows critically, the next ones that come to Broadway, of how they're going to do, because it's important to analyze why these shows are closing. So next show that's closing is Dead Outlaw. Literally, I'm so frustrated with this one. I cannot even believe it. This show is so amazing. It is one of the best shows of this entire season, and it is closing on June 29th, same day as Real Women Have Curves. And they also played the exact same amount of performances, 73 performances for Dead Outlaw as well. This show was nominated for 7 Tony Awards. 7! That does not equal an early closing. If you're nominated for Tonys, clearly you deserve to be on Broadway, especially for literally a few more months after the Tonys, not closing almost immediately after. It breaks my heart. Breaks my heart. The reason I think Dead Outlaw is closing is, like I said before, I don't think it has that sexiness to drive in people. I have been seeing a lot of marketing on my computer. I'm getting all of these ads. I'm like, girl, put your ad dollars somewhere else. I am going and supporting this show as much as I possibly can. I'm actually rushing it directly after I wrap this episode. So I just can't. I think it just doesn't have that mass appeal. And I do think that it is worthy of being on Broadway, but I do think it would have been much more successful to stay off Broadway, like I already said. And this closing, of course, raises the question again, is the Longacre actually cursed? And I think at this point we can confirm, yes, it is. Swept Away closed within like literal weeks, as did Lempicka and as did Dead Outlaw. I don't think it's a great theater. I don't think it's a bad theater. It's right across the street from where Othello is playing, right? Or is it Hadestown? It's right across from Hadestown. So it is further north. It is kind of out of the way. But I don't think that has anything to do with it. I just think that what could go into the Longacre that would be successful? Hopefully something soon, because it is bleak out there. It's really sad, and I'm so excited to see it this evening. I can't wait. I love this show so much, and I feel like it's closing too soon to even say, like, run to see it. Like, you should already have your plans to see it if you're going to, and if you don't, like, hopefully it's going to be hard to get tickets. Maybe they'll extend a couple weeks. I don't know that anybody is writing for this show as much as, like, I am, to be honest. I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen a lot of like my peers saying that they are just obsessed with this show like I am. A few are, definitely, but maybe it's just doesn't hit home for some people, but I just love it so much. I think it's just the music for me. I love the score. I just want to sit in that audience all day and hear them sing those songs over and over and over again. It's so good. So I'm very sad Dead Outlaw is not going to go down as a success on Broadway. I don't think that it would be a success for a national tour. I think Real Women Have Curves would be better on a national tour, but I'll be surprised if they do that considering how political it is. But maybe they could do like a parade sort of tour. Like they only went to the northern states, I think, for the most part. Oh, they did go to Atlanta. Maybe they did like more East Coast. So maybe Real Women Have Curves could do that. Dead Outlaw, however, I just don't think it has like enough mass appeal to go on a national tour, which is so sad. Okay, our next story, I'm going to try. Woo, come on, let's bring the energy up. We don't need to be so sad. Oh, sometimes it is sad though. Like reporting on Broadway can be seriously devastating. I remember whenever I had to report that Shucked was closing and I was like, wanted to cry. Okay, we're not going to get back into it. We're going to bring the energy up. So our next news story is, it's going to sound like it's sad, but it's not, I swear. Cabaret has set a closing date. However, we have our next stars that are going to be stepping into the roles. Billy Porter and Marisha Wallace over from the West End are going to be coming over to Broadway to close out the show. They will be starting in their roles on July 22nd, my birthday, and the final performance of Cabaret is set for October 19th. So this is interesting because a lot of us have been thinking that a lot of stars are potentially going to be stepping into the roles at Cabaret. We also haven't had a closing date for Cabaret. So now we know we have our final stars and the closing. It had been rumored that Tate McRae, Miley Cyrus, and Ava Max were all going to be in this show. None of that was true, clearly. I'm sure that they tried, but it did not happen. And we're closing it with Billy Porter, which is iconic. I have not seen Cabaret yet. And I feel like a lot of us just got comfortable in the fact that they kept recasting the roles. And we were like, okay, we'll wait until the next one. And hopefully it's somebody that we like more. Oh, I definitely should have seen it whenever I could. But now maybe I'll see even Orville. I would like to see Billy Porter in the role. I'm unfamiliar with Marisha Wallace. I'm sure she's amazing. But yeah, I feel like I could see either of them. I definitely need to see the show. I cannot let it pass me by. I really need to. But I do feel like Billy Porter will bring a lot of people. And so maybe I need to see it with Eva and Orville. I'll start doing the Today Tix lottery and maybe just like go on my own one night. I went to my second show alone this week. I've only ever seen 2 shows by myself. The first one was Some Like It Hot, and I did not like the show. I feel like because I was alone and like I didn't have anybody to laugh with. I don't think that I'll go see a comedy alone ever because it's awkward for me to be sitting there and like laughing and not having like somebody to like look at and be like, ha ha ha. Like you're just sitting there alone, like laughing. I don't know. It feels awkward. But this play that I saw, which I'll talk about next week, I went to it alone because my fiance was unable to make it with me at the last second. And so I went and it was nice. I didn't mind seeing a play alone because it's like, I don't know, it's like everybody's already just chilling and to themselves and whatever, and it wasn't a comedy, so I didn't feel like awkward. But yeah, it was fine. And maybe I would go see Cabaret on my own. I feel like it's not a comedy, so maybe I would be okay. Anyways, yes, this is very exciting that Billy Porter is coming back to Broadway, but you must see it before October 19th because it is closing. And it's interesting because they fully gut renoed the August Wilson Theater for this show specifically. So now they're going to have to renovate it again for whatever comes next. I don't like that. I don't like gut renoing a theater. Feels wasteful, especially when it's not a success. Cough, cough, here lies love, cough, cough. But luckily this one has been a success. I don't know if it's recouped its investment. Let's Google that real quick. This is interesting. So apparently it cost $24 million to mount on Broadway, making it the costliest revival that Broadway has had, setting that record. That's really crazy. But that makes sense that it's so high because they got renoed. So it's surprising that they haven't recouped, considering like Eddie Redmayne was originally in the production and it was doing pretty well at first. So I don't see any reports though that it has recouped. Hopefully it will by the end of their run. It will have been a successful run though, nevertheless. Our last news story is very happy, and so I'm going to bring the energy up here at the end. I do try to like plan my news stories so that we end on a good note because it's always awkward to be like, anyways, okay, bye. Sorry that we're all sad now. Can you imagine if I ended with Dead Outlaw closing and I was just like wallowing in my sadness? Anyways, this is not sad. Jinkx Monsoon has been announced that they are joining the cast of Oh Mary and will be our next Mary Todd Lincoln following Titus Burgess. This is an amazingly perfect casting. I cannot put it into words enough. This is going to make bukus of money for Oh Mary. Jinkx is going to be stepping into the role on August 4th, and she will be in the role through September 27th. Titus Burgess is starting in the role already at the time of this coming out. He stepped into the role on June 23rd, and he's going to be in the role for 6 weeks. So yeah, this is so exciting. I didn't realize that Oh Mary is actually scheduled to play at the Lyceum Theater through January 4th. So after Jinkx leaves, we have a few more months of somebody else that's fabulous stepping into the role. Who could it be? Who could it be? I love the drag queen trope. I would love if like Bob the drag queen would come. Oh my God. I don't know if they act, but that would be amazing. Or somebody that's non-binary to step into the role, because I love that they have just basically made Mary Todd Lincoln gender non-conforming. It's so amazing. I can't think of anybody who is a comedic legend. Wow. That's actually really hard to think about. You know what? I don't know. I really hope Cole comes back into the role because I desperately want to see them again. Desperately, desperately. I don't know if I'll see Jinkx. Jinkx has such a wide following that I think it's going to be really hard to get tickets. And I do still need to see Pirates of Penzance. But I personally, I love Jinkx. I love them. I've met them. They're incredible. But I have never watched their season of Drag Race. And I am not like I feel like Jinkx is like Taylor Swift. Like, I'm not going to go to a Taylor Swift concert because I'm not the biggest Taylor Swift fan, even though I do like her and I listen to her music. It's just like Jinkx is kind of the same. It's like, I'm going to let the mass amounts of Jinkx fans enjoy that. I would totally go if somebody like invited me to go, but I won't like rush it just for my own because I'm like not the biggest Jinkx fan. That's all to say. I think that they are fabulous. And I think that this casting is so dynamite. It made me very happy whenever I saw it and felt like, oh my gosh, the most perfect puzzle piece to fall into the puzzle of Oh Mary. So Jinkx said in a statement, quote, "Now I've said it before and I'll say it again. Cola Scola is the funniest person alive. Oh Mary is one of the best, funniest, most energizing things I've seen in my life. To be invited to live in this playground for a time is not only an honor and a privilege, but a lovely chance to showcase the writing talents of one friend, the directorial talents of another, and everything else that comes with a singular production. Happy to trade in one pair of bloomers for another," quote. That is so sweet. I know they're going to have so much fun. This is an exhaustingly demanding role, but I think Jinkx is up for the challenge, and I just can't even imagine how funny that she's going to be in this role. And yes, I just love it so deeply. Okay, folks, with that, it's 11 o'clock. I need to skedaddle and go get in a rush line because it's Sunday. Box office opens at noon. So I've got to head out. But thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of From the Mezzanine. You can find all things From the Mezzanine at FromTheMezzanine.com. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at From the Mezzanine Broadway. You can become my personal Broadway bestie for $5.99 a month over on the Patreon, which you can find at patreon.com/FromTheMezzanine. And make sure to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye, guys. Bye.